May as well go live. It's not going to hurt anything. How is everyone doing? Man, it has been. I don't know what to make of recent news. We're going to talk about that for just a moment. But first, let's see if we can't get this music functioning again. It is on the right output. Let's try this again. See where it goes. Yeah, we'll pick those. Something's not working. It's cutting out for me really bad. I don't know if it's quite as bad for you guys, but it's super janking out. How am I sounding? Am I sounding okay? Yeah, it's definitely not your connection. Um, yeah, it's acting weird for me. Um, I'm trying to think of why. Okay, if the mic is good, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. Um, I'm gonna guess that a restart could probably fix it. But I assume no one really cares that much. It's not that the music's that great anyway. One of these days, maybe I'll pay for something that'll improve it. But yeah, I'll leave it to you guys. If it's really worth it, I can reboot the computer and we can try getting the music back on, or just we'll just go solo with that, um, and hope for the best. That, or I could probably rig up something really crazy with cross patching the music, but yeah, that sounds like a lot more work than it's worth. Um, okay, so I wanted to make a quick acknowledgement about recent events. Um, let's be honest here. Oh, by the way, before I get into that, Corbin couldn't be around today. Busy, had other things to do. So, yeah, I will be playing it alone. Okay, back to acknowledgement of recent events. Um, there was a terrible act done recently. I'm not going to say words because, uh, let's be honest, YouTube might one day decide to do weird things to my channel if I do. But I wanted to quickly say, first off, it's awful what some people do. It's really truly tragic, and you know, hopefully people can, to the best of whatever abilities they will be able to get through this. um their their families, their friends, just other people that they know, hopefully they can, to the best of their abilities, get past this. um Very sorry for everybody that was hurt. Very sorry for their families. Yeah, it's awful. um Also, carrying through with that point, I think it's worth acknowledging that, as many people would point out, there are things that we could do about it. We could. I mean, there are things that we could do as a country, as a society. There are plenty of things that could be done about it. Um, but I wanted to point out, you know, it is hard for our politicians to do things. It is, you know, because after all, um, as you can see maybe from my background, uh, how can you ask a politician to vote against their own interests? If they wanted to, let's say, buy something that you can't legally own if you have a felony record, well, you might vote against background checks. You know, that's that's just a thing you might do. Uh, I'm just saying, not all of these people would vote against background checks or sensible laws. Um, I mean, we know a lot of them make their money this way, but it isn't just about the money. Many of them simply could never protect themselves if they were to support reasonable laws that could actually maybe minimize some of this. I'm just saying, you know, there's no connection whatsoever to maybe that thing that's on my screen. So now that we're considering the politicians, they need our help too. They need our understanding. Because after all, when you have a history filled with felony convictions, absolutely loaded with felony convictions, seriously, look, this scroll is ridiculous. Like, it should not be possible. And this is, remember, this is just a narrow group. That's just this particular type of felony. Okay, not all these are felonies, but you get the point. I mean, come on. It says a lot. It says so much. By the way, this chart here, I wanted to point out, this is before the Trump administration. This was from 5 years ago. Yeah, that was just when Trump was about to come in. These guys. All right, so yeah. Anyway, moving on. Oh wait, did I not have? Oh boy, I'm a genius. I can't believe I just did that. Pro level streamer there. Pro level. Uh yeah. So this is what I had on part of the time. Man, I switched where all my windows were sitting and it totally screwed me up. Okay, I'm moving windows around because that'll make life a little bit easier. So yeah, so much less emphasis on what I'm saying if the wrong screen is showing. But yeah, I mean, come on, politicians, how can they be expected to protect themselves if they can't legally purchase items for their protection? And yeah, this was the other screen that I had up there for those who missed the the important part. And this is the scroll. Yeah, it takes, when it takes a lot of time to scroll a list, it says so much. It's such a long list. I mean, that is just, if anyone's feeling the need, here are the links in chat if you'd just like to look at these. So yeah, anyway, moving on. Something a lot of people are going to take a lot of time to do. So anyway, wanted to quickly get that out there and say that. So on to tech. Man, this feels so different not having music playing in my ears. Okay, so I guess a couple of other quick things. First off, there is a chance I'm gonna have to take off relatively fast. If so, I'm sorry. Just giving the heads up, it could happen. let's see. Also, well, probably about the typical close time for the stream, about 2 hours from now, most likely. Uh, but we'll see. Um, yes, I was going to say also I did not come prepared with a whole lot of topics. I have a few. I'm not even one of them. I'm not even sure necessarily that I'm going to do, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Also, another one. Uh, oh no, I know enough about that one. I didn't read too carefully on one of these. All right. Anyway, so hitting the first one, which is pretty adjacent to what Curvy brought up in Diablo, you actually hit the other or one of the others. I'm definitely gonna cover. Um, yeah, hitting the topic of uh, not the Pixel Watch, but rather the Watch 4. It's finally getting Google Assistant after a weirdly long wait. Google Assistant is finally reaching the Galaxy Watch 4. I there's not a whole lot to say in this specifically. It's, you know, the watch is getting its updates. There's not a lot of other news or details to really dig into here. It's basically just finally it, they're they're rolling out Google Assistant to a watch that probably should have launched with it. Um, I'm gonna I'm just gonna jump straight to the point on this and say, to me, this really signals that they're they're probably getting their software stack lined up. This is very much a um, I think this is very much a stage where they recognize, or not recognize, but they've probably been working on this for quite a while. I have a feeling that I don't want to say a major rewrite. I don't think it's a major rewrite, but rather I think their priorities have centered now on polishing things, and that polishing stage finally reached Google Assistant. And in doing so, they were finally ready to actually put this on the Watch 4. That's my hunch. I could be way off. It's obviously hard to predict with these kinds of things. But yeah, at this stage, I think Google is getting this stuff ready, probably mostly for the Pixel Watch. But in doing so, they finished what they needed to for the Watch 4, and lo and behold, it's once it was done, like, time to roll it out. That's my best guess. Let's see. Curvy mentioned Fall Guys free to play. I didn't think about mentioning that, but yeah, probably a quick mention. Um, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 being on Game Pass day one. Um, yeah, I didn't think about mentioning that either. That's actually I don't know that I have much to say on that. Uh, I mean, it's kind of something I think we all knew was going to start happening. Maybe not necessarily with that game, but inevitably they were going to start pushing Call of Duty on day ones. Um, Diablo, good thing you have Game Pass. Uh, yeah, I'll have to think on that one, because I'm not I don't really outside of playing from their streaming service, which I hear is better but still maybe not the best. Outside of that, I don't have any way to play anything from Game Pass. Um, let's see. Kirby says might not be on PC Game Pass day one. Huh. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but interesting. Um, Diablo, agree. At least they seem like they're taking time to work on it. Hopefully, it does mean more stable. Obviously, talking about the watch, yeah, I after a not stellar reputation for Google Assistant on the watches, which I never really had a problem with it which, come on, how often do we hear these things? Like, a group of people will yell and scream that something doesn't work, and then another group of people's like, we don't have a problem with it. And it happens with practically everything. Um, but yeah, I never really had any issues with Google Assistant on the watch. Admittedly, the microphone on some of the watches never seemed to pick up words well enough. That was sometimes a problem for me, so it didn't always understand me that well. But I I don't think that's something Google Assistant can be blamed for. I think that's just individual watches, maybe even individual units rather than the model itself. Sometimes just like might have had faulty microphones. That I think explains a lot of people's complaints. Is the microphone in a watch is probably not exactly the like top priority of a lot of OEMs. So I I think maybe that's where Google Assistant didn't work for a lot of people, is and they never, like a lot of people I think never considered it was just that their watch had a faulty microphone. Um but yeah, anyway. So Assistant, it's probably possibly hopefully going to be good once it, at least maybe once they fix any bugs. I'm assuming there will be some day one bugs, and once they get those sorted, hopefully it'll turn out pretty well. Let's see comments. Curvy could be on XCloud day one too. Uh, yeah, I honestly I would think so. XCloud. Do you know, is XCloud running the like Xbox code base, like Xbox virtual machines or something, or is it running Windows VMs for their games? I'm assuming it would be running Xbox. That has to be way more efficient, but I have no idea. It would just make a lot more sense. Um, Runs on Series X. Yeah, kind of figured. Uh, Also, that would probably be the cheaper, just by far the cheaper hardware to run on. Um, XCloud is Xbox VMs. Not new. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't support. Oh, it doesn't even support PC controls. All right, that pretty much says it all. Let's see. Diablo. Wonder if the Google Home app on watches will be available day one. Uh, that's an interesting question. I honestly I never really thought much about that being on watches anyway. It obviously should be. It makes sense. Or well, yeah, it does. Cuz you'd want to be able to control devices that Google Assistant, or rather the Google Home network. What I'm not quite sure what to call that. But yeah, the integrations, I'll just say that. You want to be able to work with stuff that has integrations. And you're probably I would imagine you can't do that. Well, you don't need the Google Home app to do that if Google Assistant can do it. But the Google Home app would give you the ability, or it would likely add interfaces so you could tap and control a few things. So yeah, I could see that. My honest hunch though, I wouldn't necessarily bet on a day one thing. Also, Pixel Buds Pro connecting to watch and phone would be interesting. Do they not? I mean, obviously the Pixel Buds Pro have to connect to the phone. I don't see why they wouldn't connect to the watch too. I mean, every wear device that I've ever seen works with Bluetooth headphones, so I can't see any reason it wouldn't. Um, uh, let's see. Yeah, and I know they teased it, so a few more years till release. Yeah, no kidding. Um, let's see. Uh, for the Pixel Watch, the best of Wear OS and Google on your wrists. Sarcasm. Um, hey, you know what? I say this all the time. Don't knock it until it's out. We don't know for sure how things are going to go. I'm I'm not going to lie. I'm skeptical about the Pixel Watch just because first generation does have a tendency to be iffy. Very iffy. But I think I think it's got potential. I want to see how it goes. Obviously, like a lot of other people, we're going to be waiting and watching reviews. We're going to have to see, does the watch hold up, and obviously the bigger question is going to be, how long does it hold up? Is this going to be what? Man, I'm saying this and just hoping against hope that it isn't the case, but is this going to be sort of like maybe Nexus 7 like hardware where uh, it comes out at a maybe reasonable if not desirable price, and then come to find out that like it has screwy flash controllers, or um Carson, yeah, the music is off, which actually, all things considered, I also don't really need the headphones on if I'm not listening to anything. um but yeah, if for whatever reason VLC acting janky, I don't know why. I'm honestly truly confused by that. But yeah, with VLC acting janky or playing janky, I don't have much of a solution for that. I am very curious why. So curious why. This used to happen once in a while in the past, and I never figured out what was causing it. Anyway, let's see. So Carson, wonder how many devices the Buds Pro multipoint will support. Um, Technically, I mean, obviously, I can't answer that with confidence, but it's gonna be two. Um, Almost every device that I've ever seen with multipoint supports exactly two. Um, the OnePlus Buds Pro is two. Not that that's the best example, but lots of headphones only support two. Um, Obviously, I'm sure they could. Like, there's nothing stopping anyone from supporting more devices. That's absolutely a thing that could happen, but it's not going to happen. No, I don't think any manufacturer really has a big incentive to support more than two. Even if, like, think of what the typical workflow or what their idealized workflow is going to be. um you're The average person is, of course, going to have their phone. They're going to so they could be listening on their phone, taking calls on their phone, something like that. I should also plug in this phone because its battery is like redlining. um which gets me thinking, yeah, okay, battery's fine on that one. um and this one, just making sure, yeah, that's fine. This one, yeah, okay. Yeah, how many people need to check 4 phones? um Technically 5 if I reach for the one that's just past my monitor. uh but yeah, a lot of people are going to be pairing with their phone. A lot of people are going to pair with a laptop. um will people pair with a watch? They could, but I think most won't. There will be some, obviously. There are definitely going to be some that are pairing with a watch because they're going to be the, um, going out for fitness, running, or just going to the gym and they don't want to bring their phone with them, which, weird. But yeah, I certainly can see reasons why you would want to hit 3 devices, but 3 is definitely a hard cap, logically speaking, and I don't know if there's any actual reason that they can't do more, but I have a funny feeling that there's probably either some technical limitation or a cost limitation. I'm skeptical on both, but I'm just putting it out there. I have a feeling there's a reason why so many headphones cap at 2 devices when they support multi-point. And being that it is so common, I have a feeling that there's probably a cost factor associated. Otherwise, more devices would support, just because I think more devices would support up to like 4, and we never see that for whatever reason. We just never see them supporting 3 or 4 or 5, and I feel like that has to be related to cost. Um, it could be technical, but cost just seems so much more likely. Let's see. Austin, just want ultra wideband on the watch and buds. Uh, Diablo, would wonder how the assistant focuses on how much task it can do, because like somehow could feel limited in its tasks. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Um, let's see, Diablo, does the watch still control cameras on phones? Uh, I haven't tried it in a while, but I'm pretty sure it does. Basic the Okay, so the last time I used this, the one distinction is if you get a watch, or if you were to get a watch a few years ago, it would automatically have on it the camera app. So you would, if you started the camera on your phone, it, I believe, started the camera on your watch. Maybe not. I'm not quite sure on that, but I know somehow you could get to it. Now you have to download the camera app from the store. That's it. It's just not included automatically. You But you can go to the Play Store, just download the camera app, and you're good to go. Notably, that works with the Google camera on Pixel phones. I don't know what the deal is with anything else, so keep that in mind. Very notably, you can. I'm trying to think. Actually, I was about to say I think you can use the system intent to trigger a camera shot, but I don't think that works anymore. So you probably can't just download like a generic app that would work with any phone. You might have to have like the specific phone's camera app downloaded to your Wear device, which obviously a lot of companies probably don't offer. I'm not sure what the deal is there. I until recently didn't really have another phone to test with. I guess that's something I'll have to try with um the S22 one of these days. Let's see. Diablo suggesting tablet, phone, watch, PC. Okay, I admit I did actually not think about the tablet, but yeah, I could see a lot of people wanting to pair with the tablet too, just for like watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. So yeah, multi-point. You're right. The ideal would be say 4 to 5 devices, and for me, like that is definitely the ideal. In fact, uh, oh wait, did I leave? Damn it, I left those in the other room. I am reviewing the OnePlus Nord Buds, and the review will, I think, go live tomorrow. I think. I haven't checked the edits yet, but it's pretty likely. And anyone who caught me this weekend, on Saturday, you saw me doing the first part of the edits on the photos. I still have some cleanup work to do, but that's just dust removal and things like that. Which actually, there's a chance I might end up doing that tonight. If you see a random stream notification, very likely I'm just going to sit here, hopefully with good music playing, and I will. That's it. I will just straight up be streaming, just dust cleanup and stuff like that with music playing. If this happens, which I'm not promising, but if it happens, there probably won't be any talking. I'm expecting to just sit here and just do cleanup, and that would be it. But anyway, with the Nord buds, they don't support multi-point, but they do support fast device switching between two devices, which I actually really like. And by the way, this is a somewhat hidden feature. Damn you, OnePlus, for hiding something this useful. It's not super hidden, but it's a little hidden. But all you have to do is long press on the bud for, I think it's 2 seconds. Maybe it's 3. No, it's fairly quick. It's got to be like 2 seconds. And it switches between the two most recently paired devices. It's really fast, it's really convenient, and if all you do is use one phone and one laptop, like, this is super convenient. This works perfect. I'm not going to say I like it more than multipoint. Multipoint is better, but this is great. Like, it is a good way to use it. By the way, preview of what that review says. Basically, holy crap, the OnePlus Nord buds are way too good for being $39. Like, straight up, they are way too good for $39. They sound not quite as good as the OnePlus Buds Pro, but so close. I mean, you can try them side by side, like one in one ear, one in the other ear, and just pop between them, and honestly, it's hard to tell. They are so similar in sound quality. The OnePlus Buds Pro are just a little bit better. Well, they're a lot better. They have a higher ceiling for their bass, but that's about it. Like, the bass on the OnePlus Buds Pro is just through the roof. The Nord buds, their bass caps out a little bit lower. Otherwise, like, sound quality is so close. The Buds Pro also have a crapload of other features, most of which I don't care about. I don't even like some of them. Particularly, and I know some people will love or hate this, but oh my god, active noise cancellation, ANC. It is so bad on so many earbuds. It's just not that good, and so I'm learning to not mind when it's not part of a set of earbuds. I'm very okay with the idea of not having ANC on earbuds. Granted, I'm not going out in a lot of loud public places listening to music. If I were spending time on a subway every day, if I were hanging out in bus stations, or, well, any mass transit location, I would totally be all about ANC. I think, maybe, I don't know. I'd have to try it with a decent pair of headset, or a decent headset or decent pair of headphones. I managed to merge those two terms, but I might care a lot more about ANC in that scenario. But working in a relatively quiet setting, nah, I just don't care about ANC. And every earbud that I've tried, with the exception of the OnePlus Buds Pro, they were better at this. But every other set of earbuds I've tried that has ANC, they actually perform so poorly that the desk fan I have next to me, in many cases, either sounds louder than it actually does in real life, or it just sounds weird. And it doesn't remove it, it doesn't hide it. And a desk fan is quite literally the, like, frequency range that ANC is absolutely supposed to just nullify, and it doesn't. And I think back to some of the reviews I've written and just some of the comments I've had, some of the ways I've had to try to describe how bad ANC is on some of the earbuds. It's really, really amazing how terrible so many earbuds are. But anyway, yeah, I'm going off on this review. I'll just say again, like, the Nord buds, they're really genuinely too good. I'm very impressed, and OnePlus actually should kind of take a bow on this. That being said, and it is a point that I'm making in the review, If you know OnePlus's history, this is a company that is so good at coming out with a like first generation device that is it it exceeds every expectation. It is honestly kind of too good as a device, and the price is really competitive, if not maybe too good as well. And then their second generation of that same product line, look at the reviews. Go back, look at the reviews for the OnePlus 2, the phone. Look at, or whatever it was called. Um, that was what the OnePlus, was it OnePlus 2 or OnePlus 1 2? I think it was OnePlus 2. Anyway, look at the reviews for the OnePlus Nord 2. Look at the reviews for most of their second generation earbuds. Everything OnePlus does, that second generation has a really bad tendency to be like the mediocre product. And I'm not taking shots at the company. I'm just saying like they have a tendency coming out of the gate so strong, setting a really high expectation, and then holy crap, they just kind of float for their next generation product. And then, you know, then in the third and fourth generations, we'll see. Like they can kind of come back, they can kind of fall behind. It's OnePlus. They're kind of all over the place with that stuff. But first generation products out of OnePlus, for some reason, that's like, how many companies are good at the first generation of a product? Only OnePlus. Only OnePlus. Microsoft used to be famous for the fact they couldn't release an operating system that was usable initially. It took until their second service pack before Windows was usable. Um, uh, Apple, even like Apple's first generation products are notorious for kind of not getting supported very well and having a lot of like missing janky features, very likely because they're holding stuff back, knowing full well that they need something for a rainy day. They need something for that product generation that they don't really have anything genuine for, so they're just going to release all the stuff that they've had working for years. Every company, they do their first generation stuff bad. Not OnePlus. OnePlus, like, only buy their first gen stuff and don't touch the rest unless it's like super well reviewed. Okay. Anyway, let's see comments. And all this stuff because I'm talking about buds that don't have multi-point, but get close enough with one feature. Anyway, Curvy, Cody, will you get the Pixel 7 Pro considering it's supposed to be a very iterative upgrade from the Pixel 6 Pro? Uh, so first, it depends on finances. I'm I'm pretty tight right now, so I'd have to say, at the moment, I probably wouldn't. At least not right away. I'd maybe if like a really good sale came along. Um, that being said, I at the moment I'm also not feeling super compelled to, but I wouldn't be against it. I'm always kind of down to get the latest Pixel just because they typically do interesting things with them. But yeah, I mean, the Pixel 6 Pro has been really good for me. I'm not running into any of the issues that a lot of people have, except for a slow fingerprint reader. That is the biggest thing. Um, and if that video we saw is accurate, it, I, I did a side by side just with my Pixel 6 Pro versus that video, and there was no question that the Pixel 6, or sorry, I meant Pixel 7 Pro. The Pixel 7 Pro in that video was definitely faster than the Pixel 6 Pro, but it still has that sort of, you put your thumb on there and you could just see there's a delay. There's a period of time that you have to wait for it to do the unlock. It is it's not the sort of casual quick placement of your finger that you get out of some devices on some fingerprint sensors. Like I look at the OnePlus 9. Fingerprint reader on the OnePlus 9 is ridiculous. It is so close to instant. It's insane. That that is something that it feels unintentional, or well, unintentional is the wrong word. Um, it feels effortless. Austin, what video am I referring to? Actually, wait, am I? Sorry, not the Pixel 7. I meant the Pixel 6a. That's what I was trying to say. The leaked video is what I'm talking about. Let's see. Or not leaked, but uh, Pixel 6a fingerprint sensor video. Let's see. Does that come up? Um, yeah, Curvy shared that clip. I'm trying to see if I can't find it really quickly. Well, I was looking. Okay. Here it is. Oh, it's been deleted. Oof. Um, yeah. So I would show it, but the video is gone. So that sucks. Um, it was retail training video from Google France, really? Okay. Uh, yeah, anyway, the from watching that video and just kind of doing the side by side comparison, I it still looks like you have to be very intentional with your fingerprint read, whereas the OnePlus 9, just as an example, like you tap your finger on the screen and it unlocks. It is so freaking instant. You just don't have that with the Pixel 6a or the Pixel 6 Pro. So I gotta say, for that reason, I kind of do want to get a 7, because it at just speeding it up would be nice, but I feel like they are still missing the boat. They need a faster fingerprint reader. It needs to be. It doesn't have to be truly instant, but it's gotta be. It's gotta be close. We had it. We had it for years. Look, Pixel 2 XL, quick, instant. Like, wait, what's on screen? Am I gonna making sure nothing bad is on screen? Um, but I mean, right there, tap. As I missed the fingerprint reader, but tap, and I mean, I felt the vibration. It just took the screen a second longer to turn on. Like, it's pretty fast. It's pretty easy. It works. I need more of that out of. I need that from the screen. That's my biggest. That's my biggest thing. If you're gonna put it in the screen, it's got to be fast. So yeah, I'm just. I do want it to be faster. Um, let's see. Okay. Diablo, remember how the assistant on different devices can do more or less than others? Ron has a good hit piece on assistant from a while back about it. Wonder if it's caught up by now. Um, it okay, so I can't answer this with like specific examples or too much knowledge. I know it has caught up in a lot of ways, but they still do a different assistant on all devices, and that is intentional. Now, for a period in time, it was unintentional-ish. I know this. But it was... The whole thing is they want to offer different features and make certain features prominent in certain places. So, like if you're in the car, you want assistant in the car to behave a certain way because you want it to really feature being able to answer questions about navigation. You want it to be able to answer um, like communication sort of stuff. If you're sending messages, anything like that, you want it to respond to this. You want it to have workflows that are kind of intelligently built to simplify these processes. Compared to, let's say, if you're in the home talking to a Google Assistant device, You wanted to do a different set of things. If you're in the car, for example, you obviously aren't going to tell it to start playing uh, like a TV show. If you're in the home, odds are, if you're asking it for something, you are asking it for a TV show or a movie or something like that. Or you actually, can you start up? I know they were going to have a whole thing where you could start up Stadia from Google Assistant. Did they ever actually get that working, or was it something that only worked through the controller? Because I feel like that was a controller thing. Um, anyway, but yeah, you want Assistant to do different things in different places. So they have different versions of it that are just like crafted to different experiences or to different devices. For that reason, it's always going to be different. That being said, yeah, I'm sure by now they've quote unquote caught up on a lot of stuff. I think they've improved those experiences, but I don't think it's entirely widespread. Um, who knows? Because they're always adding stuff to Assistant, which I yeah, I think I talked about this last week. I'm almost certain I did. Um, but every Google I/O, they talk about Assistant. They spend a lot of time talking about Assistant or using Assistant, that kind of showing off what Assistant can do. With as much as they show it off, you can tell they're constantly adding features. They are extending its ability to understand language. They are improving its, I don't want to say cognitive skills, but it would be accurate. Um, so yeah, I they're improving Assistant in a big way. Meanwhile, Apple keeps they keep trucking along. They've got Siri there, but they never talk about it during the presentations. We've got Dub Dub coming up in, is it a 2 weeks, a week? Actually, wait, when is Dub Dub again? When is WWDC 2022? That's gonna be June 6th on oh yeah, on a Monday. That's right. But wait, yeah, they're not. They have no attendance, but they're starting on a Monday. That actually feels weird, and it's technically what is going on here? So it's gonna run the full week, but they're not gonna have anybody in attendance. How does that work? Like, what are they doing for the full week that explains all of that if they don't have people there? Like, Dub Dub isn't even interesting to most people after the first day, and for the people who are in attendance, most of them are there. I mean, a lot of them are there for the sessions, but they're going to pre-record the sessions, obviously, so they'll just be shuttling those out anyway. And most of the reason for everyone else to keep going to Dub Dub was to go into like the semi-private sessions with developers and things like that, to sit down and work through issues or sometimes report bugs or do whatever. Why would they need the full week? I don't know. But anyway, Curvy, about the last comment, you asked because I normally get every pixel. That's actually not true, but within reason. So, historically, I have had most of the phones from each generation, not all. I was trying to buy a Nexus 1 back in the day, but missed it by literally minutes, which sucked. Um, I I never, I didn't seriously look at the Nexus S, I think is what it was called. Yeah, Nexus S. I never got a Galaxy Nexus. My first Nexus was the 4, then I got the 5, I skipped the 6, got the 6P, and wasn't going to touch the 5, or the 5X. Yeah, the 5X. Um, let's see, got the original Pixel XL, the Pixel 2 XL, Pixel 3 non XL, got the Pixel 4, skipped the 5, and then picked up the 6 Pro. So I've skipped a few devices here and there. Um, and honestly, you know, I a lot of it has been sort of job necessity. Doing teardowns and everything, I have to have multiple devices, and since teardowns were very, very Google centric, having a Google phone was sort of a necessity. So a lot of times I had to buy at least one from each generation so that I could test things and make sure software worked the way I expected it to and stuff like that. I haven't done teardowns in a pretty long time at this stage, so and based on a number of things, I am pretty confident I'm not going to be going back to it. So most likely I won't be going back to it. Um, and as a result, I don't really need Google phones. Um, and I say that as like a job thing. I don't need to pick up Google phones for the job. Uh, However, that being said, you know what, I have tried other phones. So far, I do still just like Pixel phones the most. I could be swayed to try like maybe OnePlus. I didn't really get to try it during my short stint with the 9, but you know, I'm not opposed to trying other phones, but my experiences with Samsung phones, I just don't like them as much. They're good phones. I just don't like the software skin and look and some of the. I mean, they have a few nice features, but they also have some features that I feel like they kind of get in the way. So you know, I just kind of like the Pixels a little more. Um. Uh. So yeah, for personal device, in all likelihood, I'll probably stick with the Pixel. But since I mean, wait, which one is it? Seeing as how my main SIM card is still, oops, as I forget to switch scenes again. Man, I'm forgetting scene switching more today than I normally do. But since my Pixel 3 still has my SIM card in it, I'm clearly okay with not using the latest device. We'll see how much that sticks over time. Let's see. I'm falling a little behind on comments, not by much, but let's see. Diablo 1 Plus be like eyes. Um, Actually, if OnePlus heard this stream, they'd probably be like, okay, we need to do something with this guy. We like this guy. um, just because I'm talking up the Nord buds. Um, hey, maybe I can get them to follow me on Instagram. I should post some of my pictures on there. Uh, anyway, um, curious to see if Google updates their TPU in Tensor 2. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna assume the answer is a definite yes. What that will entail, I'm not sure, but I have a funny feeling that it, my assumption is, and I don't have any real basis for this, but I have a weird feeling. I think Tensor is going to kind of operate or progress on its own schedule. I think what they're going to be doing is mostly like internally releasing updates to the TPU and basically anything associated with Tensor. I think they're going to be releasing updates on just whatever schedule they internally decide, and then the phones will make, well, the phones and the watch and anything else that is using those custom cores, I think they're basically just going to pluck from them as time goes by. um they might have kind of like a feature drop internally that they're going to target, Because let's be honest, when the phones come out, if they have features that are tied to specific versions of the tensor chip, I'm pretty confident that that's going to be a part of their plans. But what I guess I mean is, if they come up with a revision to something after say 3 months, and then they don't have a device coming out for, let's say, 9 months, I'm just making up numbers at this stage, I could see them basically waiting and just saying, all right, well, we have this version of the chip. No one's going to use it. No one. Anyone, hands, show of hands, no one's going to use it. Okay, well, forget that one. We've got this other one right here. So they'll just replace the chips or not replace the chips, but they'll just come up with versions of the cores, roll those out if some part of the company's going to use them, and if not, they'll just get ignored. I mean, we're never going to see this on the outside. We're going to be blind to a lot of this stuff, but I have a feeling we'll hear one of these days that the custom cores they're developing are probably on a development cycle that is a lot more Google-like. Basically, they'll develop it on their own schedule. And when there's an update available, they'll add it. If there's not an update available, you'll get the same thing that you had last year. That'd be my guess. Okay, let's see. The case looks huge. Which case? Are you talking about one of mine? If so, let's see. If you are talking about one of mine, I'm trying to think of which device it might have been. But all of them, actually, the cases are pretty minimal. I guess the Pixel 2 XL case kind of is a little larger. Barely. I mean, not by that much. And these are all Moment cases, except for, ironically, the one phone I haven't picked up so far on stream, and that is, this is, damn it, is this Nomad? I want to say Nomad. Yeah, it's got to be Nomad. I'm like 90% certain it is. As I pull the case off and make sure, yep, it's Nomad. Not that you'll, oh yeah, you can see that. Not sure if it's focusing on my face or not, but yeah, it's Nomad. It's their leather case that has the Moment camera mount system built into it. One of the few partnerships that Moment did with another company. I have this case because my old Pixel 4 case, something happened. Oh, what happened? I think it dropped and the case broke. The phone survived just fine, but the case, something happened to the case. Anyway, coincidentally, Nomad happened to have a sale going for this case at that time. And I kind of wanted to try it out and see if I wanted to have like the leather back, the nice, fairly nice leather back and stuff like that. I will say it's a nice case, and I dig that they put the camera mount in there. It's, I think, an overpriced case, though I understand it. One of the biggest issues, to be fair, is Moments cases are very expensive, so there is that. But yeah, Nomad, if I could, I would be happy to get this case on most of my phones. The problem with it is I keep my hands pretty clean. This is such a weird complaint. But with leather cases, I mean, it's hard to tell for sure on stream with my almost thumbnail sized view of it, but with leather cases, the neat thing about these is they change color over time. they get a patina on them that looks really nice. And the damage that occurs to leather, it typically will actually start looking very cool. But a lot of this only happens when your hands are kind of oily and or dirty often. Mine are not. I'm not a neat freak, but I don't do a lot of stuff that gets my hands super dirty. So this doesn't really come up with this leather too much. And I put my phones onto some surfaces that tend to scratch the back pretty easily. So this has a lot of dings and dents, and it has actually kind of a perfect, not gash. Gash would be the wrong word, but there's a dent running diagonally down this way. Because the phone fell and just, I guess, hit something perfectly. Just, it hit something perfectly, and it just knuckled like this line right across the back. Like, there's a lot of damage to the leather, and it's just dings and dents. It's nothing that like cut into the leather. But yeah, it doesn't have that awesome look to it yet. And I'm not really, since I don't really get my hands that dirty, and I don't hold it a ton either, so I don't think it's ever going to color itself in a way that makes those dings and dents start looking epic. For those that don't know, just check out some of the like vintage leather. Like, look at photos of vintage leather. It just looks ridiculously awesome. But you'll get that pretty easily on a phone case if you hold it and use it all the time. But if you don't have it in your hands, if you're not getting stuff on it, it will never get that look. The Verge, how to patina your case. Yes, exactly. So see, I don't particularly like that color of leather, but exactly. Yeah, if you basically just abuse the living hell out of the leather, honestly, that's the way to get a look to it. You can make your case just look more vintage, more worn, and it looks neat. Was kind of expecting there to be more visual sign of that stuff, but yeah, there he goes. That's, I'm assuming, some leather oil. I see 2 different grinding stones that obviously he's going to use to just scrape. Oh, coconut oil. Yeah, that'll work. Yep, run the grinding stones on them to abuse the leather a lot. You're basically distressing the leather. Spray on the oil. And there you go. You have your own made to look pretty leather. And of note, I'm not going to name the person for reasons, but I've had this sticking in my head for ages. It is the weirdest advice, but it is true. And it sounds disgusting, so bear that in mind as I say it. But people who know leather will point out that if you ever need to condition your leather and you're too lazy to buy oil off of like your face apparently is really good for leather, which sounds so cringy, but it's true. Basically, just I won't describe the process, but just think of how you might, maybe transfer that oil to your phone case, and just do it intentionally. And this is a tactic for making your leather look nicer and keeping it in good condition. And moving right along from that particular comment. um, let's see as I glance down here. By the way, hello to everyone. Sorry, I didn't say hellos, especially since there were quite a few people right off the bat, but I see David joined us, so hey, David. Um, hello to Austin, Diablo, Curvy, Hoopy. Um, am I missing somebody? Carson, yes. Uh, okay, now I think I got to everybody. And possibly hello to one or two others. I know that at one point we were sitting at 6 people viewing, but only I think 3 or 4 chatting. So maybe a lurker or two. Hello and thank you for joining. Anyway, so I am so far behind on comments, but okay. I think I can fly through a few of these real quick. Diablo, they sound like winners. Obviously, talking about the Nord buds, I did remember seeing that popping up while I was talking about them. Curvy, the Sony XM4 buds are the best ANC buds for Android. Yeah, I've heard that, and I would love to try them. Sony, if you'd like me to review the buds, I will straight up make a video. Just send them over, and we'll call it a sponsored video. Huawei Watch vibes. Yeah. What video was I referring to? That was the I mistakenly said Pixel 7. I meant Pixel 6a. Let's see. Cody, the modem and fingerprint on the 6 on the 6 Pro is a killer. See, again, I haven't used my SIM card in that phone yet, so I can't speak to the modem. But I've heard mixed results. I've heard a lot of people saying that it's not a problem for them. Obviously, it's a problem for some people, but yeah, I mean that's the thing, and I think they're going to probably resolve that with the next one. There's no way to say for certain, but yeah, I have a feeling that the 7 Pro, whatever the complaints are about the 6 Pro, will probably be resolved in the 7 Pro. That being said, there will be some new way that the 7 Pro gets something wrong. It's bound to happen. It is. It's bound to happen. Let's see. Okay, I saw a few of those. Diablo, yeah, makes sense. Also, Assistant on Chromebooks still feels behind. Okay, yeah, the Assistant not being consistent across devices. I'm assuming that in the case of the Chromebooks, and I don't know what's behind necessarily, but I'm assuming it's largely because they don't have a lot of that same, I guess, infrastructure. A lot of what's on a Chromebook isn't really hooked into like the sensors. It's not hooked into, well, or rather, it doesn't have a bunch of phone sensors to work from. It doesn't have a lot of the features that have been developed for phones. They're literally not even on the device. So as a result, I have a feeling Assistant is a little more hamstrung on the Chromebooks. But I'm not sure what ways it's behind. One thing that would worry me is if it's behind in like the ability to control integrated devices like smart home stuff. I could, if there are problems like that, that's more problematic. It's always tough to tell though. And one thing about Assistant, I think it bears saying, if you ever, and this is true with Siri, it's true with Cortana, if anyone uses that. It's obviously true with Alexa too. If you ever think about this. If you ever try something, let's say that you want to try controlling. Well, I just reviewed that air purifier a couple weeks ago. That air purifier, one of the commands that I tried giving it was literally just saying set fan speed to 3. That doesn't work, which is weird to me. Now you can tell it to set the you can set the fan speed to max, which weirdly does set it to 3 instead of 4. Don't ask me. I don't know. I think it's a bug. And you can set it to minimum, which basically knocks it down to its quiet level. You can even tell it to go into sleep mode, but you can't tell it, or at least I couldn't tell it which fan speed specifically to go to. Seeing as there's only 4 speeds, this doesn't really ring as a big problem to me, but it is a notable thing. But from here on out, I'm never going to try setting fan speed. One of these days, I bet they'll add that. That'll probably be a feature. I'll never know. This is a problem with voice assistants. You will never discover when a feature is added once you have already tried using it and failed. And for this reason, I think a lot of people will inherently actually someday decide that some voice assistants are actually better than others, even if they're inferior. Because you will, and this, honestly, this happened with Alexa. This happened in a big way with Alexa. Don't get me wrong, Alexa's still so far behind. But it's an assistant that had a very minimal lexicon. It could not support a lot of different ways of phrasing things. You needed very specific syntax to work with Alexa in a lot of cases. Google Assistant doesn't have that problem. It has never had that problem. And it's even reduced that problem over time. Like, Assistant has gotten amazing at being able to understand context and the flow of sentences. But at this stage, people who are using Assistant all the time have probably gotten so used to how they have to talk to it that if they were to walk into someone's house who is using, we'll say, Alexa or Siri, and we're talking in the future, maybe, but if they're using it and they're using some new feature, if they're speaking to it in a way that is just better somehow than someone who is used to the way that they're already talking to Assistant, it's going to possibly seem like magic to that person who is using Assistant. And honestly, Assistant is probably by then going to be so much better, but they will have built up that expectation that a lot of the things just never happened in Assistant. This is one of the challenges, obviously, with voice assistants. You can't expect to ever get people to learn what's new and what's changed. Obviously, we're a bit different. Enthusiasts are always going to be a bit different in this way. Anybody who's used to using, or anyone who follows news, we're all typically seeing headlines that point out some of the things that get added. So we do know about a lot more of this stuff than the average person ever will, but even a lot of sites just don't cover or don't learn about things that are added to Assistant. Google doesn't even highlight a lot of the stuff that gets added over time. So, yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Let's see. Hoopy, you can start a game while already in Stadia from the controller only. Okay, so yeah, they never really finished that feature, because at one point in history, I know they claimed with Google Assistant and Stadia that you would be able to tell Assistant to launch a game on a TV, and that never happened. So you have to use a controller, and you have to already have Stadia open, which those are two things that basically they promised and just didn't deliver on. Or, well, one thing with two limitations. Diablo only remote controller, but the assistant on Google TV always telling me to say play or play trailer when I'm already hovering over the button. Yeah. You do like how it can now understand better when you mess up a sentence. Yeah. No, for real. I can't tell you how many times I've I've given a command to Assistant, and I'll start off with the like, "Hey G, set," making sure I didn't trigger anything, even though I said that. Anyway, like set the light to, and then I'll stumble for a minute, and it's like, uh, 20%, and it gets it. It recognizes the stumble. It knows. It's good at figuring out where your breaks are, or kind of figuring out that an empty moment of silence isn't the spot to stop if the command isn't quite finished. Or maybe it's that it can hear my voice kind of stumbling because I'm still probably making a sound, kind of an or and it can recognize that's not the place to just assume the sentence stopped, which is good. So Assistant has gotten really, really good at this stuff. I have no idea how Siri or Alexa handle it, but I can't help but think that just based on stuff I keep hearing from iPhone users, I can't help but think Siri is nowhere close. And honestly, I don't know anyone that uses Alexa. Not anymore. I used to know people that used Alexa. Several people that loved Alexa. Every single one of them at some point or another has either just stopped using Alexa or they switched to Google Assistant. So, yeah, that's, which feels to me like kind of a message about where Alexa probably is. Um, let's see. Hoopy, probably live streams for devs, same as Google I/O. That's obviously in reference to DubDub. Um, live streams for devs, same as Google I/O, but Google I/O, first off, was just shorter. It was 2 days, right? I don't think there was a third day. Um, so yeah, they did do some live streams. They still had some stuff happening, but also they still had an audience and attendance too. But we're talking Apple doing 5 days. Okay, technically it's actually four. The first day, Monday, is a keynote. Well, okay, I don't know this for sure, but if their schedule is anything like it has been in the past, Monday will be keynote. Monday night will probably be the App Awards. I don't know if they're still doing that. I don't know that it's going to be the same thing, but I'm going to assume that it's going to be the App Awards. Um, let's see. Do we have actually schedule as I successfully typo misspell schedule? Okay. All right, well, we'll just pop open the good site. Okay, keynote on the 6th, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Wait. Oh, the keynote, the platform State of the Union. Wait, what? That doesn't seem right. That's got to be Eastern, right? They wouldn't do something as late as 1 p.m., would they? Okay, where is it gonna be? I'm so convinced there's no way in hell they're gonna do. Yeah, okay. Live stream kicking off at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's more like it. They had to have said that wrong in that other post, or they meant something else. Like maybe they were referring to like the state of the platform or something, because there's no way in hell they were going to do the keynote as late as 1 p.m. Pacific time. That would have been 4 p.m. Eastern. And holy crap, can you imagine all the all the news writers at The Verge just losing their crap over the fact they'd have to stay late? Wouldn't happen. The Verge would be like, screw you guys, we're going home. Um okay, so what do we have here? Yeah, they're not listing anything in the schedule either. I'm gonna go on a I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they are not gonna do stuff the whole week. I just truly can't imagine it. The only way it would make sense is if maybe they're releasing videos throughout the week, like just selectively saying this is the day we're going to release videos on this or these topics or this set of videos, and progressively just move through. I have a lot of trouble believing that they're going to do anything else. Uh, but okay, it is what it is. Um, all right. Apple gonna fake the trees again? Oh God, I hope not. I'm still curious how much of that was real and how much of it was fake. Because some of the stuff that they did, I could totally have seen them using a drone for. And if you stick the right camera on there, they could have made some of that stuff happen. But man, so much of it just looked fakey and rendered. It's so tough to tell. Um, it's an excuse to get Apple employees back on campus. I wonder how many of them are. I wonder how many of them have found excuses and ways to stay home, because a lot of people don't want to go back to the offices, which is funny because we're talking about Google and Apple, two companies with some of the best offices in the world. Like they do so much to make their offices nice, but man, it says so much when their employees are like, can we just not go back to the office? That's a sign that they either don't want to deal with the traffic, or they don't actually like the office experience, even with those offices. Which honestly, from what I've heard from a few Googlers, a lot of Googlers don't appreciate the way their offices are set up. It is a thing. Um, anyway, let's see. Carson probably won't upgrade to the 7, but it is moderately enticing. May wait a few months after launch and upgrade if the trade-in value on the 6 Pro is good. Uh, I'm just gonna guess that the trade-in on the 6 Pro is probably not gonna be that good, but you never know. I'd love to see Google adopt some sort of solution for trade-ins that just is better. I don't know how that would happen. I don't think they're in a position to do that, but I want to believe in it. Uh, but I feel like this is something only Samsung is going to do. I could be wrong. I want to be wrong, but yeah, it seems like a Samsung thing. Even Apple doesn't have very good trade-in like practices. Um, okay. Curvy, of course, planning to upgrade, or very likely upgrade. Um, oh damn it! YouTube's comment section or chat section, please stop jumping when I scroll even slightly close to the caught up point. Austin, the Nordbuds battery case. I think that was in reference. Oh yeah, it looks kind of fat. Yes, that is the problem with the Nordbuds battery case. It is in fact a detail that I bring up a couple times in the review. Um, it is kind of chunky. It's just a fact. No matter how you put them in a pocket, no matter how you orient that case, it is just kind of chunky. It is a fatter case than what you would have with, say, like yeah, kind of have this. So this is the Buds Pro case. It's, you know, it's kind of wide footprint, but it has a flat angle to it, and this opens up like a compact, like a makeup compact, and you know, it is just a really good pocketable case. It has nice rounded edges too. Like, everything about this case makes it so you can throw this into skinny jeans and you're good to go. Like, this will fit in skinny jeans no problem. Well, maybe a little problem, but they are still skinny jeans. But hey, like, this will fit. The Nord Buds, that case, it is a pill-shaped coffin with sharp edges. You throw those, it doesn't matter how you throw those into your pockets, you're going to have a weird looking indent no matter what. It's not great for that. So yeah, the Nord Buds, it's something you're going to want to throw into like a bag, or like your jacket pocket, or anything that they can kind of sit in loosely, or at least anything that's just not pressed up against your body. And don't get me wrong, I walked around with them sitting in a back pocket, and I didn't really have a problem with that. But the jeans I was wearing for that were not super tight or anything, so it wasn't a big deal. And I also, in that particular instance, did not care how I looked. So yeah, the Nord Buds, that is one of the biggest drawbacks, and almost one of the biggest things I had to knock points off for, is the fact that it just had a not ideally designed case, which is funny because the case actually looks nice, or nice enough, and is built reasonably well. They just made this one really not ideal decision about how it should be shaped. Let's see. Yeah, pretty light. Not quite sure what that's in reference to. Oh yeah, the leather. Yeah, the light colored leather, not my thing, but yeah, the worn down look on leather, that's where it starts looking good. Let's see. David, you came in at the end. Maybe the end of a particular topic. Though, as I look at the clock, we are getting closer to the 5 o'clock. Technically, I guess I'm giving my 15-minute warning coming up, but yeah, let's be honest, I'm probably going to overshoot a little bit. Let's see. All right, skimming down a little bit further. Hey, I'm at least within a screen of the most recent comments. I'm catching up, kind of. Curvy, gotta go to dinner. Getting Chipotle pollo asado tacos with large Coke and light ice. Alrighty. Well, sorry, Curvy, I missed you, but hey, take it easy and enjoy dinner. Let's see. Whenever Siri is... Oh, Diablo. Whoever says Siri is good is lying to themselves too. Nice. David Lama, Siri's hot garbage. It's funny because I'm listening to this podcast. It is all Apple fans. They all carry iPhones. They most of them don't even know anything about Android. It's funny sometimes listening to that podcast when they talk about Android, because it's like it'd be like listening to me talking about performance cars. Look, I know a little bit about cars, not a lot. I'm not a gearhead by any stretch of the imagination. If I'm sitting here talking about performance cars, I sound dumb. Listening to these guys talk about Android, they sound dumb. Like, just straight up. They clearly don't even know about things that happened a decade ago and that every Android user considers normal. Listening to these guys talk about Siri, they bag on it all the time. I mean, they think Siri sucks, and they like it, and they still admit it sucks. One of the guys on this podcast has a Google Home and has talked up time and time again how good it is at anything to do with voice, and he constantly compares it to Siri and says, clearly, Siri is just behind. It's behind by a lot. And there's no coming back from it. Like, there, Apple Apple does not have the advantage in any way, shape, or form outside of the fact that Siri is a little bit more smartass than Google Assistant. And honestly, even there, I think Google Assistant is kind of catching up. Uh, like every once in a while, I will say I will say things like at the end of giving a command, when you know how I don't know if everyone turns this feature on, but if you have continuous commands enabled, like after it recognizes a command, it beeps again, waiting for you to do something else, say something else, so it can kind of continue. Sometimes I will end a series of commands by saying "Good Google," kind of like you're talking to a dog, and it didn't used to, but now it sometimes responds. It clearly, like I don't know for sure, but I bet either enough people were doing it, or maybe just because I was doing it. I want to think it was totally my doing. It now every once in a while will get snarky in response. I don't remember what the response is, but every once in a while, like I'll say it and it will say something just a little snarky back to me. Not too bad, like it's not getting catty or anything, but you can tell people were doing this enough that somebody at Google decided, I need to do this. I need it to respond and like be funny back. And it does. So if you guys try it, if you have any reason to, every once in a while, or just try for a while, ending every set of commands with "Good Google," and it will eventually say something wise ass in response. It's so good. Um uh okay, Diablo. Google lucky in having the knowledge power behind their assistant. They stumble acknowledgement is appreciated. Or yeah, the stumble acknowledgement. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. When you're talking and you kind of pause or do a bunch of uhs or ums while you're trying to finish the sentence. Yeah, it's just better at this stuff. Especially even for non-native English speakers. I wonder if that's why. You actually bring up I you know I think about that as a reason for a lot of stuff, but I didn't consider that might be the reason here, because non-native English speakers, they absolutely like. I mean, I've worked around and for a while was engaged to uh, non-native English speaker, and yeah, I well she had a tendency to not do this, but um for mostly because her English was kind of iffy at times, and to compensate, instead of saying a bunch of uhs and ums, she just would pick random words to say instead, which was weird. Anyway, and her English was really good. She just chose at times to not use her English well. Uh, there's no better way to describe it than to say, you know how there's that thing where some women will just choose to kind of play the dumb role. My ex had a tendency to kind of do that too, except in her case, instead of playing the, like, I hate saying this because it sounds like something that will one day be looked at as a thing that should never be said. Like, this may be a cancelable offense, but instead of playing the dumb girl role, she played the dumb foreigner role, and she clearly knew she was doing it. But yeah, anyway, it's a thing. But yeah, I never considered that, but yeah, being able to understand and respect pauses while non-native English speakers are trying to find the right word, that totally makes sense. That makes total sense. Um yeah, so anyway, Diablo, which Apple employee just quit again? Oh, the wasn't yeah, there was somebody who was involved in smart or like artificial intelligence or machine learning or whatever that just quit Apple over some reason. Um I I I saw the story but I didn't pay super close attention to it. Um but yeah, they didn't want to go back to the office. That's right. And then they joined. I forget what company they joined, but didn't they join Meta or something? I don't remember. Um, Ian Goodfellow. Okay, honestly, I don't think I even had seen the name in that story. I knew that the story had happened. Um, let's see. Fanny pack. I know that that's a reference to putting the earbuds into a bag. And yes, absolutely. If if you rock the fanny pack, these earbuds will the case for these earbuds, the Nord buds, absolutely fanny pack friendly. Um let's see. Your sister has her AirPods case in a case that attaches to her keyring. Uh yeah, I believe that. And also, I don't know why I hadn't thought about this before, but holy crap, that needs to be a thing with like why are no case or no earbud makers, why are none of them doing earbuds in a case that just has like a built-in, like, I don't know, like a hook or something, just something that you can attach to your clothes. Like that should just be built into some of these cases. I'm not saying every case needs that or anything, but it just makes sense. Like, why not make a case that has that specific feature right from the start? Because you know there are some people who would see that and immediately that's the thing that's going to make the sale to them. Because I've now seen enough different cases for wireless earbuds. Too many of them are the same. I mean, they all have their little differences, their little tweaks and adjustments. Let's see, how many do I have within reach that I can? I have these two. Do I have? I'm sure. Okay, I don't have. I only have two within reach. Um, but yeah, the OnePlus Buds Pro. These are. It's a again. It's a case that's designed like a compact. That's it. There's nothing special about it. Uh, Charging port is in the back. That's it. I also have the Razer Hammerheads 2, and these are in what I refer to as the cigarette pack style of case. Flat, kind of, flat, kind of long, wide, whatever. But again, very pocketable. And these open at the top instead of the full wide footprint open. The coffin style that the Nord buds use, the thing is, it's just another case with the same basic function and design. It's just configured differently, and I don't get that. Why not do a? And I've seen a few other weirder ones. Like I know there was one that was shaped kind of like a tube that you actually pressed out part way, and the bud, or you kind of slid a lid to the side, and that's how you got to the buds, which is kind of interesting. But it's not breaking any new ground. Why not do buds that? Okay, there is one that was unique. Somebody made a phone case with built-in buds. That was a unique idea. I probably not the best idea, but a unique idea and worthy of at least attention. But yeah, why not have like, I was gonna say, why not have something that has like a carabiner built into it or something like that? As I'm looking around trying to find like, do I have something handy that's a good example of this? And I don't. Um, that that is somewhat disappointing in this exact moment. I really thought I was going to have something within reach that would be a good example. I do not. Um, oh well. Anyway. Um, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. Anyway, eh, you gotta. This should be just a thing with buds. There should just be. Okay, actually, this isn't exactly what I was going for, but here's actually kind of a interesting idea. So I have this strap on my camera. It's just a wrist strap. Um, it's made by Peak Design. Fits around the wrist. If you were to drop it, it has a slide, so it actually gets really tight on the wrist. It's strong enough to easily hold the camera. If you're at all familiar with Peak Design stuff, they have this system of a of this thing that you can easily slide out. It just clips in. One neat thing about this strap, though, when you have it on your wrist, you can wait, where is the magnet point? Okay. Was it supposed to go the other way? Yeah. Okay. You can wrap it around your wrist, and there's a magnet in, actually I think the magnet's right here, and a little bit of metal, not a ton. It doesn't hold super tight or anything, but you can wrap it so this thing fits around your wrist and doesn't dangle. Now, it's not exactly a great fit. You've got this huge amount of loop still sitting there, but you know, you can adjust it, at least move it around or something, have it stick out the top, I guess, whatever. But just looking at this, one of the first things that hits my mind is, what about an earbud case that literally doubles as a wrist strap? Like, just a, you know, the same way that Nilay Patel had a wristband with spikes on it because anti-corporate or whatever. You know, imagine having a wrist strap where your earbuds are just hidden, built in, or attached in some way. I'm not saying it's a great idea, but I don't think it's a bad one. It would make it a lot harder to ever lose your earbuds. But earbuds, they're small items that, if there ever was something that you should just have a way to fit into, or you should have like some kind of clever way to carry them or hide them, like that is the perfect product for it. Okay, anyway, so much thought going into your quick comment about your sister having her AirPods attached to her key ring. um let's see. Diablo, you used to do something that said like thanks a lot, and it gave you a snarky response. That's neat. I know Google has a few of those built in, but I don't know how many or like what all of them do. But I like that they at least do stuff. But they don't go over the top the way that, honestly, like Siri sometimes went a little too far with its responses. Anyway, um people do take advantage of dumb roles. Yes, they absolutely do. Um My ex was pretty good at that. She played that role perfectly because she knew she could get away with it. Um, let's see. Diablo. If only Jacquard is more accessible. Yeah, Jacquard that seems like one of those things that just died on the vine so hard. I I like the idea of it, but the fact that like you could only wash the jacket, I don't know if they ever improved on this, but the jacket could only be washed 6 times before you basically broke down the wiring and contact points. Dude, that's so rough. That is insanely short lived. You can't do that. Um hmm. Sorry, I just saw the oh jeez. Diablo, I just saw the link you posted into RambleCast. I at least nothing happened. Um Cheers for the kid getting caught. That's awesome. It's really really good that he got caught. Cause holy crap, can you imagine if something had happened there? Um, but yikes. Why? We don't need more of this crap. We do not need more. Let let the world just be in a better place for even a minute. Um, okay, let's see. How are those Razer Buds for gaming? Um, so I don't do a lot of very well, I guess the word would be high precision gaming. So and I also basically never game with earbuds in. If I'm gaming, headphones. 100% of the time, like head I always wear headphones for gaming, which these are these have been worn into oblivion. I mean, when you can see like that is all the fake leather or whatever it is that's just completely rubbed away, well, cracked away. These are pretty old. Um, but yeah, and this I've got two sets of decent headphones. The other one, oh, actually, I'll show you. So yeah, I have my let's see, what was the okay, so these this is an old pair of V Modas. I also have my Audio Technica headphones. These are the ones that I used to wear on stream all the time until the plastic on, I don't know if you can really see that, but there's a tiny wire there that is the only thing holding the actual ear cup or the part of the headphone connected. This plastic just broke over time. Like it just weakened to the point that it just cracked. And at first I thought, okay, well that could be fixable. That's maybe not a problem. You definitely won't be able to see it. I'd have to take a picture of it, but the other side, I can see a crack in exactly the same place. So it's just reached the point that the plastic has has gone not bad, but it's just weakened. It's fatigued, and there's no coming back. So I'm thinking one of these days I kind of want to, if they ever do like a trade-in program for like maybe busted versions, or I don't know. I want to try to find something I can do, or maybe I'll just try to repair them someday. Or maybe I'll find somebody that needs to, like maybe someone who has busted headphones and wants to buy these for parts. I don't know. I'd like to think that there's some way to use them or upcycle them, recycle them, something. Um, but yeah, I never really use buds for gaming. The few times that I've tried has literally just been for doing reviews. And even then, I really don't. Like it's one of those things I kind of have to force myself to do. Um, but yeah, I'm way more about using actual headphones for gaming, or I just don't have headphones in. One or the other. Uh, let's see. Carson, is the mic decent? I'm assuming you were talking about in the Nord buds, and the answer is yeah. At least I'm told it is. I haven't listened to myself recorded through them, but uh, through this whole review, I did not have a single freaking phone call. But yeah, I'm trying with, or I made a point of talking with my best friend just a few hours ago today or this morning, and we only got to talk for about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes maybe. Uh, but yeah, she said that they sounded really good, even kind of on the loud side. She said I came through really clear. I obviously, like, there's more to it than just clarity, but she seemed really happy with them, so yeah, I'm not complaining. That's a good sign. Um, let's see, Diablo. You remember patents Google did about touch stuff on the skin? Uh, yeah, I actually Google's not the first to have even done stuff with that. I remember back in the early 2000s, I think, or maybe it was even in the 90s. There were people experimenting with being able to read electrical signals off the skin, which was a neat idea, but obviously it didn't go very far. Um, yeah, let's see. Nothing happened, but still oof. Yeah, no kidding. Or ouch. Um, it's funny. Headphones are opposite to phones. The hardware outlasts the software. No, Razer Buds. Oh, how are the mics on the Razer Buds? Uh, okay. I don't know if you saw uh, the review I wrote for that, but the mics on the Razer Buds were so good that when I used them to make a call with the same person that I was talking about a minute ago, um, it, she she spent a while specifically praising how good I sounded talking through those buds. And since then, she hasn't always noticed that I'm talking through those versus different buds or sometimes even the phone, but generally speaking, yeah, she had really high praise for having me talk to her with those buds in. So the Razer Buds, solid. Honestly, it is really bizarre to me, but the Razer Hammerheads too. I thought these were going to be such terrible headphones because Razer, and they're gimmicky. I mean, they have light up. Um, I'm sure you've seen this, or I think you've seen this, but like they have LEDs on them. Like, how cheesy is that? That everybody agrees that's kind of cheesy. Uh, but it works. Honestly, it's, I think, actually a genuinely good feature. Um, okay, connected. Just popping open YouTube Music. Um, yeah, I mean, that's what it's doing while it's playing music. And you can turn this off. You can have it either like just not do anything with the LEDs, or you can have it do different patterns, like specific patterns. Or in this case, I have it set so it actually kind of lights to the beat. And the thing is, um, the RGB gives it power. Yeah. The thing is, though, like, this is I thought this was going to be a dumb gimmick. It's not. It's actually like, even the RGB is a good feature in this instance because it can be a signal to other people that you're listening to music. Not that I have a big issue with this, but it's, it's a consideration. And honestly, it makes the buds a lot easier to find if you drop them. Like it's weird, but there are reasons why that even just the RGB is good. But I never found anything really to complain about. Yeah, they don't sound quite as good. If you are stupidly nitpicky about music, they're not going to sound quite as good as some other buds. But it's close. They sound still really good for what they are. Their microphones are really good. The case, admittedly, the case isn't great. I mean, the lid, this lid, I can see it in my audio meter. It's picking up on that creaking. Like this case, this lid, it's just, that's awful. You know, this is the Buds Pro. Oh, okay. I found a way that I can make some sound with this lid, but the Buds Pro, this case is durable. It doesn't squeak if you press on it weirdly. It the only way you can get it is if you slide the lid side to side. Then you can get some squeak out of it. The Razer Buds, nah, that's just straight pressing on the lid from several different orientations. You can get a big loud creak off of this thing. So yeah, like the case isn't the nicest. It's not the prettiest. It's not stylish in any particular way. It kind of, I guess it's the kind of plastic and texture where it's going to, if your hands are dirty, you're going to kind of show on this a little bit. Not too bad. But yeah, they're not the prettiest buds. But man, they're actually good. It's funny. So many of the buds that I've tried are actually really, really good buds, except the Klipsch buds. The buds that launched at $300, twice the price of the most expensive buds I have tried other than that. And those are the worst buds I tried. I mean, I still kind of like them. They're good in their own way, but man, they are nothing compared to the other buds. Every other, like, they don't deserve a price anywhere close to that. They should be under $100. The only quality they have is they sound good. They have terrible mics, the Klipsch buds. They have terrible mics. The active noise cancellation is just utterly worthless. They're okay looking buds from what I remember. The case actually looks really neat until it gets scratched up, and it gets scratched up so easily, which is funny because they claim that it's scratch resistant and is super durable. Well, I mean, it is durable. It is rock solid case, but man, it does nothing in terms of appearance once it gets scratched up. It looks like an iPhone 2G or 3G with that like metal back that got scratched into oblivion and just looks terrible. Yeah, it has that sort of vibe to it. Except it's glossy, like, I don't know how to describe it. It almost looks like it's a case that has a glossy lacquer on it, which is neat. I mean, it's nice. Again, until it gets scratched up. That being said, I wonder if it could be polished back to being unscratched. Maybe that would be a thing. Diablo, Nordbud's killing it then. Yes, 100%. Every other set of buds I've tried is 3 times the price, and honestly, in terms of value proposition, unless you need the other feature, any of the features offered by one of the other buds, And I will say there is a case to be made for features. But if all you want is buds that just simply sound good, and you don't want to spend a lot, $39 for a pair of buds is killer. They outdid themselves. It was a big case of under promising and over delivering. Um, I should request to review the Buds Pro when they launch. I assume you're talking about the Pixel Buds Pro. Um, I can already tell you I won't get to, because there are people at AP who just take all the Google reviews. They they will not hand them out to other people. Not these days. Um, but yeah, it'd be kind of interesting. I'd like to try them, I guess. I didn't have. Well, yeah, I'd like to try them because Google now seems to have its act together with the buds. The original Pixel buds, I think, were, or rather, I didn't try them, but I just remember they were reviewed pretty negatively, and I think for good reason. I imagine they're much better now, but I didn't really have any compulsion to try the whatever they're called, the ones that I was sent for free with the Pixel 6. I still have them. They're still in their box. Which is still covered in plastic. I do not foresee popping them open. Wait, are they? Yep. The Pixel Buds A series. Yep, still in plastic. Still got that. Uh, twist it around so I can do it. Still got plastic on them. Not going anywhere. The case doesn't creak. I mean, that's a positive. And just looking at the picture on the side of the box, you know, I don't think they're the prettiest buds per se, but they look fine. Looking at the case, I mean, the case is rounded. It obviously is a flatter case design, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, the case design, setting aside aesthetic aspects, it's better. It's more pocketable, which is nice. But I still doubt that I'm ever going to have a reason to use them. I don't know. Maybe I should pop them open. If I have I'll say this: if Google should happen to send me the Buds Pro for any reason, I will pop open the A series Buds just for comparison. I don't know that there's really much of a reason to, but I'll totally do it for that. Otherwise, I keep thinking I should try to sell these. Just they're not worth much, but maybe a few bucks back would be nice. Um, Man, it's funny how much I kept saying I had topics for today and literally only actually hit one. This is like follow up day. Uh, so yeah, I quickly discussed the Watch 4 and Google Assistant. Um, and Diablo, nice. I am so not repeating that. Um, wouldn't it be okay? I definitely am not repeating that, but it would be kind of funny if that triggered someone's Google Home to put in an order, and next thing I know, it arrives at my place. It obviously wouldn't because it wouldn't have my address, but that would be hilarious. Slow news week indeed. Uh, I mean it definitely was, but I think it was also. I mean, there's okay. So when it comes to this week in news, there's been a lot of factors. Obviously, of course, the non-tech news that was referenced at the beginning of the show, um, which again, terrible stuff. But that kind of preempted a lot of other news. It also happens to be not a dead week, but a week a lot of people aren't going to care about because Google I/O is basically just now recently over. Dub Dub is coming up in 2 weeks, or week and a half, however you want to count it. And this week is Microsoft Build. Now, Microsoft Build, the thing about that, it is a developer conference. Like, it is what Google I/O used to be. There's no pretending, not even close. There's no pretending. It is developer only. I assume they probably announced a couple things that regular people would at least have some marginal interest in, but not a lot, not very much at all. So, I think a lot of companies are probably looking at that and saying, well, we're not going to try to announce anything against Microsoft in case they make news. And all the other big companies are in kind of their own dead space. So yeah, there's not a lot to actually announce. That being said, I'll pop in. This is one of the other things I had prepared, and yeah, Diablo, you suggested it, I think, and I mentioned it, or I confirmed earlier. Definitely a thing. But yeah, Google TV is finally, like, what? We're what, 9 months late, or well, 9 months since it was announced. They're finally getting out the multi-user profiles, a feature that is, in my opinion, still grossly incomplete. The reason I say it's incomplete is because, well, we'll get to it in a second, but basically the way that multi-user profiles works is, as you're using Google TV, you can set up a profile for yourself as you use it. Google TV will kind of pay attention to the shows you watch, the things that you do, what you're interacting with, and it will build a profile about you to figure out what recommendations it can make in the future for content. That's basically it. Now, it does have one actual like direct functional advantage, and that is within Google Apps, as you switch profiles, the apps will also switch profiles. Presumably, though not entirely confirmed, this means YouTube, I think, and I personally consider that one the most important one. It'll obviously be like movies and TV, the music, I would imagine. Basically, the handful of Google apps that are actually useful on TV, those will automatically switch accounts when you switch profiles. What kills me is that they don't have any way for third-party developers to do the same thing. That is madness. When they first launched this, I was willing to give them a pass under the presumption that, hey, they wanted to get this out, and there was good reason to maybe say, we don't need to support everything. We don't want to jump and make an API today for something that could change. We want to test it and make sure it's good and whatever. That would have, I could forgive that. But I talked directly with a PR person who said that it was I suggested this thing. The PR person even made a point of saying, hey, that's a really neat idea. And the way it was said, it was pretty clear no one had suggested this already. I don't get it. But why can't third-party developers do something with this? That should just have been automatic. And it's not even like it's asking much. The way I envision this, and sorry, I know this gets a little bit into the weeds with developer-y stuff, but the way I envision this, okay, I'm trying to think, how do I say this where non-developers can hear this and it's not going to be saying too much weirdness. So imagine for a second, you have, well, as the image shows, you've got 4 local profiles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That kind of works. Um, so the mom profile, when it gets activated, all it should do is ping. Well, not even that. Basically, whenever an app opens, it should be able to query which profile is open. Maybe it gets you the name of the profile. I'm more inclined to say it just gives you some sort of identifier, literally a randomly generated number on that specific device. So let's say, for example, well, we'll come back to that, but so the way it would work in this hypothetical is the mom profile just has a number like 53. Obviously, it is a much larger number. We don't care about that, but just for hypothetical sake, it's 53. The dad profile is 76. Grandma is 112. And Sam, the little girl, is 2. I don't know. I'm making up numbers. And I've already forgotten what half of them are. So who cares? But every time the app starts, if the mom profile is active, like the app can query and it gets back a number that says, oh, mom's profile is 56. Or the active profile is just the number 56. At which point the app could say, okay, we haven't seen this before. Would you like to link to an account? You have 3 accounts signed in, or 3 profiles. If you're Netflix, you have these different profiles. All you have to do is then Netflix says, okay, do you want to link to one of the profiles? Oh, mom, or your whatever's active, this 56. You want to link it to the profile that is actually called mom or Ginny. Let's say on Netflix you name the profile Ginny. Okay, so now whenever you start up Netflix with the mom profile active on Google TV, Netflix will see that it's just profile 56, and it will automatically pull up Ginny's profile on Netflix. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's that easy. That is the easiest API you can design. It is so simple. And if maybe by some chance, I don't know if this is a thing, but maybe if you can switch profiles while you're inside of apps, you would need an event to fire to the apps telling them, oh, profile changed. At which point, you don't even have to tell them anything. I guess maybe you'd tell them the old profile and the new profile. Those would probably be the 2 parameters you would pass as part of the event. The old profile so that maybe the app can say, oh, we need to save state. We'll save it to that profile. And we've got a new profile coming in. Let's load that one. That's it. That's how simple this is. This is such an easy API to develop. I can literally not think of a way to make it easier. To some extent, maybe you want like abilities to change them or delete profiles, at which point maybe it removes it from the apps or tells the apps to remove them. There could be a few other things, basic cleanup stuff, but that's it. It's that simple. I told them they should do this, and I honestly thought after 9 months, I thought that's what they were going to do. And maybe they implemented that stuff on the back end. I don't know. But they didn't announce that there's any concept of being able to control third-party apps. They didn't announce any upcoming API or SDK additions. Just nothing. This is something they should have had. Like I said, I could forgive it then. Now, I think this is just a huge missed opportunity. They could have and should have made this better, and they didn't. And I had previously said on this local device, in my hypothetical scenario, you would have to link your profiles to individual app profiles on each device. It would be kind of neat if they made it syncable so that, like, if you set up your profile on one Google TV and set it up on another Google TV, for all the apps that you install, I'd like to think it would just handle it on all of them. That'd be ideal. But it doesn't have to be that way. I can live with it if it's not. But come on. This is such a no-brainer. Why not? Carson, oh, am I going to talk about MS Build? I did not watch any of the news from MS Build. I don't have anything to say on it. If you have something specific you can point to, by all means, because I fully intend to look at the news from there. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Let's see. Netflix probably like our account switcher works. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of companies are perfectly happy having account switchers launch as soon as the apps open. Amazon does it, HBO does it, Netflix does it. I assume Disney does it. And I bet almost every other service does it, which is kind of the point. Nobody wants these account switchers if they don't have to. Why not have the option? Or even, like, and by the way, part of the reason I described it the way I did is because every app could implement it however they want. All this API does is tell them, or let them ask which profile's active. That's what I'm proposing. It would not switch stuff out. It wouldn't force apps to load anything in particular. So, for example, maybe the way it works for some apps, like an app could, let's say Netflix, they could implement it so that on startup of the Netflix app, for maybe 5 seconds, it sits on a profile switcher screen and says, like, hey, if your dad and that's the active profile, if you're this active profile, just don't hit any buttons and you'll automatically get signed in. 5 seconds, you're in. And, ideally it should maybe be shorter than that. Maybe it's something configurable. Who cares? But after a short period of time, it just automatically logs in whichever profile is active. I like that idea. I think that works. And then if not, you can arrow over to the profile you want to load, and then it just ignores whatever is currently set by Google TV, and it just loads a different profile. That's it. It's not hard. It's not asking a lot. It's not changing security or anything like that. It's literally just giving apps a way to streamline their process, make it a little bit more convenient. That's it. The lowest bar for improving what apps can do. I don't know why it isn't there. Let's see, Diablo. I know, right? At least a save state of remembering which account was chosen. Carson, it's like there's not even a dedicated Android TV team at Google. I mean, I know that there is, but man, it does feel that way sometimes. Android TV just always feels like that forgotten project. And I get why. They're doing stuff. They're trying to make it better. There are people dedicated to Android TV, but man, it is just a project that seems like it was forgotten and left behind. Oh yeah, Carson, that's right. The EA thing. It's funny because we kind of hit so much of that stuff in Discord. I'm not sure how much we even want to say about it, but I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I kind of hit the time I was planning on bailing, but I can do a little longer. first, let's see the rest of the comments. What are they even working on half the time? With Google TV, I believe what they're doing is, um, I could be wrong. This is very hypothetical, but I believe they're still trying to add a lot of features and support and capabilities that will be leveraged by like set-top boxes and built-in Android TV experiences. So obviously they care about the box. They care about uh, Chromecast with Google TV. They care about NVIDIA Shield. They care about set-top box, those types of boxes. But they care more about cable boxes. They care more about TVs with Android TV built in. That's what they're building for. And I think most of what they're doing has a lot more to do with that stuff. And it is still a small team. So, to some extent, I'm pretty sure a lot of what they're doing is sort of background services and support features. They also have to develop an SDK. They also have to try to make this thing as friendly as it can be in different cultures, languages, etc., etc. I'm sure they have a lot of stuff going on. There are a lot of different angles and aspects to push, and you have to support a lot of very weird different hardware. So I get that they're doing a lot of that stuff. Oh, and they also have to support a lot of new standards. We don't see a lot of this stuff, but a lot of new standards pop up in like TV and entertainment. And by new standards, I'm talking like just remember there was a time not that long ago, HDR was just not supported in anything. There was no HDR support anywhere in the industry, and then it all of a sudden it kind of popped up, and a lot of devices needed to support it. And Android TV was one of those things. Dolby Atmos is a relatively recent thing. Even though both of these things have actually been around for quite a few years, it's pretty recent that they got support in a lot of home entertainment stuff. So, you've got like individual people who are working on a lot of these things, slowly getting them up to par. And I think the Android TV team also, I think they lend a hand to other developers trying to get them, or to solve their issues and help them get stuff working right. So you factor in all this stuff, and if you've got a small team, it's not hard for them to kind of, I don't want to say waste time. It's not wasting time, but it's easy for them to not necessarily do the things that we expect them to do, that we want to see them doing. The same stuff was said about the Android Auto team. Remember, oh my god, the Android Auto team. If you go back and look at comments on so many posts on AP, there would be comments on every single post saying, what is this Android Auto team doing? Like, they have changed almost nothing in 2 years. So many comments about that. Or like they would add this feature that looks like it's so simple, and oftentimes it was a really simple feature, and everyone's like, seriously, they've done nothing for 3 months, and this is what they finally bring, is this like toggle that when you start your car up, it'll automatically play the music that you were last playing. Dead serious, that was actually one of the limited features that they actually did launch at one point that didn't have a whole lot of stuff happening around it. The Android Auto team caught a lot of flack for this stuff, but the truth of the matter is, behind the scenes, they were making Android Auto legally compatible with basically every government or all the road laws everywhere in the world. Every country has different stuff going on, and they were making sure Android Auto was cleared everywhere. That's insane. That is a huge undertaking when you consider how much went into it. And they were making sure that it had language translations for everywhere. Granted, assistant being the one exception. There were a lot of assistant features they just couldn't do in all markets. But yeah, they added so much stuff. They've got just tons and tons of things figured out that are all very regionally specific. So they were working. They were working hard. But they were working on stuff that we just weren't ever going to notice. That's the nature of it. We're never going to notice these things. So, I sympathize with them. They were working hard. They just weren't working on stuff we were ever going to see or notice. Um Diablo, Android TV and Android Wear teams are like, we really don't get support. I feel like Android TV gets the least of all the major groups that we think about. Android Wear is getting more attention, but still not by enough. Honestly, I do think the Wear team needs to be larger. Just, we're seeing too many signs that they simply didn't have the developer team or the staff to make Android Wear progress faster and more effectively. And I kind of wish they did. Diablo. Heard the regular Android team bashing them the other day. They think it's nonsense to dedicate power to them. Really? Going the Ron route, Google really doesn't care, and it shows. The Chromecast barely gets updates. Yeah, okay. So on the Chromecast, to be fair, well, okay, if we're talking the old Chromecast, not the one with Google TV, that's its own mess. The old Chromecasts, I don't think they need updates. Not anymore. I mean, they need security updates and the occasional little tweaks and stuff, but even setting aside that, I think that project is dead. I'm not sure, but I think all the old Chromecasts are like, they're just never going to actually support or update those past a certain point. I think they're done with that product line. From here on out, I think it's all Google TV stuff. But the original Chromecast family, honestly, they were built to do such very specific, limited set of things. I don't think they'd have a reason to update them really ever again, unless they're specifically trying to add like a new look or new little quirky features. But for the most part, honestly, like, they're appliances. That's it. The old Chromecasts were an appliance. You plug them in, they do the thing that they're supposed to do, only the thing they're supposed to do, and no more than the thing they're supposed to do. And that was it. I kind of look at those as just being disposable items. Chromecast with Google TV is different, and yeah, it needs to have updates. I don't get what they were doing. Ooh, good stretch. Google's like, what's Cloud Sync? We barely allow people to migrate phones. I mean, they're kind of good at it, but they're also really bad at it. I just do not trust. I will not set up my phones with a Cloud Sync. Or, well, I mean, I do, but like, I don't. So when I'm resetting one or setting up a new one, I never ever use Cloud Sync. It just isn't. I don't know. I can't trust it. Little weird crap happens, and setting up a device fresh is just bound to eliminate a lot of that weird crap. Diablo, yeah, focus won't be on cool new user facing features. Yeah, it really very rarely ever will be again. um Someone asked for new APIs and focus on Wear tools, and they were like, We're trying, but don't see our focus on it yet. Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's kind of a shame. I I have a feeling where is going to always be kind of like that last pillar, the last tent pole anyone's going to bother putting up. If they can get everything else worked out and have extra time and patience, they'll fix where. But it seems like they still have so many other things that they want to do and not enough desire to do things with where. Yeah, it's a shame. That being said, well, which also kind of fits in with the earlier theory that maybe the Google Assistant stuff on the Watch 4, seeing as how it's coming so late, it kind of tracks that might be a big indicator that they just are only now actually getting around to getting that working. I don't think that they would have held it back from the Watch 4 for a whole long time if they already had it working. I think they held it back because they just didn't care enough and did not have motivation or incentive to move quickly on it. But I don't know. It is what it is. Um, Project managers keep shifting, so ideas don't last long enough either. Yeah. No, that's one thing that, I mean, Ron highlighted it really well in that last article that kind of got talked about with Google Pay in that case. Okay. I just got a security reminder that TikTok can access my Google account. That reminder is from 32 days ago. And yes, I have I technically have two TikTok accounts, both of them with one follower, the same follower on both, and I have posted nothing, and I do not watch anything on TikTok. So yeah, there's probably not much point to following me unless I suddenly become very motivated to start doing TikToks. Um, but yeah, I I feel like, yeah, oh, I shouldn't have cleared it, but yeah, seriously, 30, was it 32 or 33? Whatever I said. Yeah, 30 some days ago. For real. Why? But okay, hey, uh I guess it's good that notifications just, if you don't make a, well, I don't know. Anyway, uh damn it, what was I going to say? Oh, um 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 damn, brain. Where you at? Where you at? Where is where just doesn't get the sort of attention that it needs to flourish, which sucks because it's not like there's a lot of good competition. I mean, Apple has the Apple Watch. They won a market that they only distribute their, or the only market they distribute their watch to, they won that market. Woo. Shocker. Show of hands, who's surprised? But here's Google. They could dominate their own market. It's not like there's really competition, or not very good competition. They bought one of the bigger competitions that they had. How about doing something? It's yours for the taking. Make watches that will be competitive and make some money. Uh, yeah, it just kind of makes sense. Either that, or figure out what you think is going to be next and make that next. If it's going to be like another Google Glass, okay, I don't think that's going to be a huge hit, but do it. Make it and put it out there. Don't just leave this other don't just leave smartwatches floundering out there as the will they won't they question mark. Does Google care about this? Does Google not care about this? Will there be support in, say, 6 months? Will there be active changes, or are they going to release a Pixel Watch and then be like, ooh, that wasn't a great idea. Hold on, let's ship these out really quick, then we'll kill the program. Like, what's happening here? Samsung should just send their devs over to the Wear team. I kind of thought that's what happened. Not literally, but it certainly seems like the narrative is that Wear is integrating a whole lot of stuff, and it sort of sounds like that's the way of it. Like Samsung might have taken over some of that work. I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, I don't really have anything to say on these. I wanted to try to come up with something, but it just never really hit me. But so basically the UK, I'm just gonna tell you this. The UK is thinking about imposing a set of rules on Google, and this would also apply to Facebook and some others. That basically says if you include any sort of preview of an article, or in some cases I think even the title, then you have to pay media companies for some amount of something. So Reddit would also kind of possibly have this. Basically, if you're showing any part of the first paragraph or any content from a site, you would be on the hook to pay for whatever that site would have made from a view. That's kind of the goal of this. I don't have a lot to say on this at the moment. I'm not sure how much I would have to say on this. I'm sure I could come up with something, but it's just nothing's coming to me now. It just strikes me as this is something that it didn't really work for Australia. Google's just trying to work around it. It's going to work even worse for the UK. And the more countries try to do this, the more likely it is Google's basically just going to say, okay, fine. We just won't link to sites that don't want us to link to them. That's just how it's going to be. And strictly speaking, Google could set up an agreement with different sites and basically say, look, if you want us to include like excerpts from your article, you have to sign an agreement that gives us that like declares we can do this at no cost. There's going to have to be something like that. It just seems like it seems so obvious. And I feel like media companies are just, they're not going to want to do it. So Google will just have to stop showing a lot of companies, or they'll have to limit what they show, like just the headline and nothing in the excerpt, which I think that's going to get them a lot fewer views. So yeah, I just don't see this working. I think Google's got an easy end run around this, where, damn it, I knew I was going to trigger something eventually. I think they have an easy end run. They can just basically make it opt-in to give away their excerpts for free. That's going to work 100 times better than forcing Google to pay out to sites. There's just no future in there. So yeah, there was that. Yeah, like I said, I don't have a lot to say there. Then we have, yes, the Apple EA theoretical deal. It's not a done thing, not by a long shot. Disney and Amazon are, along with Apple, these three companies are possibly in the running for buying EA, the very least, EA wants or probably seems to want that. Um, Man, we said so much of it already in Discord. I don't know. It feels like a repeat, but and I think I had more to say on this, and I I've just had my brain on too many other things. But yeah, I could see this happening. That's really the biggest thing. I've wondered for a while. We're talking about Apple, a company that got into it, or that started its own TV and movie studio. And when you consider that, like, that is a big deal. They started their own TV and movie studio. They spent money bringing on Jason Momoa, uh, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell. Well, though he was only in part of that show. Um, I'm drawing a blank on her name, but Rachel from Friends. Like, they spent money. Oh, they bought 2 Tom Hanks movies just cuz. I'm sorry, but at this stage, like, Apple is willing to throw some money at some big stuff. So the idea that they might buy a game studio, that's huge. That is absolutely huge. It is believable. It's realistic. Is it EA? I don't know. Tom Hanks. Did I say a different name, or did I screw up his name? I thought I said Tom Hanks. But yeah, I mean, buying a game studio. Again, would it be EA? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Like, EA is, it's a huge company. They have tons of access and franchise. I don't see any reason that they can't buy EA. They have the money. EA seems very likely eager to do it. As forgive me, I don't remember, was it Carson or Austin? One of you had said this likely is attached to the upcoming recession, or depression, as it very possibly is going to be. Because entertainment industry stuff does have a very strong tendency to drop in value when the economy is bad. Shocker. People have less disposable income to throw at things that don't produce money or value. Unless you're a Twitch streamer, in which case, totally different story. But yeah, honestly, if it's not EA, it kind of makes sense for Apple to buy something. And if they're going to buy something, why shouldn't it be EA? The business model may not line up, but there's no question. EA 100% can be rejiggered to fit whatever model Apple wants. They would be buying for talent. They might also buy to some extent for existing copyright or franchises and intellectual property. But fundamentally, what they need is talent. A bunch of people that already know how to build games. And all of that said, if they do buy EA, just gonna say it. You know I'm gonna say it. You're expecting it. You're feeling it. It's creeping up behind you like a monster in a horror movie. You know exactly the words I'm gonna say. Gaming on Mac, y'all. That's it. Like, they're going to direct every one of those, every team that they can, they're going to direct to start making games for iOS, Apple TV, well, I should say iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, and Mac. That's what they're going to do. They are going to have teams dedicated to covering these specific platforms. They might still ship to other platforms. I think some of their franchises are too profitable not to. But they 100,000% are going to put stuff on the Mac. It's going to go on other platforms too, but they're definitely going to put stuff on the Mac. That's huge. That's really, really huge. There's a lot of potential here. And I can't imagine a version of this where anything would get in the way. So yeah. Yeah, I think this happens. Unless the price is wrong. Apple will still want a good price on it, but as long as the price isn't wrong, I think this deal goes through, assuming someone doesn't scoop it up first, and Apple will get the thing that they kind of needed, which is a big boost in gaming. So, yeah, that pretty much covers it. Let's see, Diablo. Apple would have their bases covered with gaming. The iPad looked neat when they showcased high-end games. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was every year, but certainly every time they got to talking about the iPad, there was always this thing of, look at how many pixels it is, and look at the incredible graphics performance. We're doing all this extra stuff that no one else can do. And they would, they would hype the fact that it was like an M1 Mac doing it, or they would show off like graphical performance in games on, say, an iPad. They want to show this stuff off on stage. If you want to show it off on stage, it's because you mean it. You still want to do something with this. They just didn't. So yeah. EA would leverage that good processing. You'd like to think so, but man, I have my doubts. I don't think EA is that good at optimizing. Maybe they are, and I just don't know it. But I didn't get the impression that that was a big concern for them. All right. Anyway, it has been a good while, and I do actually need to get going. Plus, I can just feel myself melting. This office, by the way, is I don't have a temperature gauge in here, but I'm gonna guess this office is probably closing in on mid 80s, probably low 80s. It's warm. We finally have warm days coming back, which is good in a way. I love that I don't have to wear a sweater. It's bad because this office gets so freaking hot. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about that. But hey, not today. Today I'm gonna go at least briefly crawl into bed, just so I can take a break from this computer, or rather more this chair. Then I'm going to probably finish up what I need to for that Nord Buds review. At this point, it's just fitting in the edits, putting it into our insanely terrible CMS system, finishing the photos, which again, there might be a stream tonight, just a random quiet stream. No certainty, just saying it's a thing. It could happen. And if it does, wait a second. Okay, no, that wasn't the problem. If it does happen, oh yeah, anyway, Diablo hype. Yeah, so no promises. I'm just saying there's a possibility of a random stream tonight that would again be no talking, just sitting, music, and photo edits. Part of the reason I have not done this in the past is I haven't found music to use, which is also kind of a challenge now because I don't have anything picked out. But for what it's worth, hell, I might even do this on the voice channel someday, just so I can I could play not entirely kosher music. You know, the sort of thing that has licenses and expects you to pay for usage. Stuff like that. Anyway, um, let's see. Streaming this weekend. I want to say yes. I don't fully know because I have a bit of a self imposed deadline, and I also have another thing that I need to prepare for next week. So this weekend's a little bit up in the air. I want to stream, but I don't know how things are going to play out. I have a lot of stuff that I need to kind of try to fit into a relatively short schedule. Um and hopefully I can talk about that not too long from now. But yeah, it at best it's a few weeks away before I can talk about that. Um and that assumes that it's a thing that I can that I'll be able to talk about at all. It may not be. Um Carson, you'll be in New York. That God, I love New York. I I, I only was really there as kind of a tourist, but yeah, I really like New York. I'm not sure how I would feel about it in warmer weather. I'm iffy, but uh Carson may check in. Well, yeah, if I stream, hopefully. But if not, dude, no worries. Enjoy New York. Like I said, jealous. um, let's see. And then the other question is, what do I stream if I stream? I have no idea. I just I keep looking at the fact that Stadia Pro is I have it for a few more months, and I feel like I should probably use it up as much as I can. And also, as an aside, I did notice there's another sale on Far Cry 6. And I have a fair amount of Google Rewards credit and uh yeah, I have a fair amount of Google Rewards credit stacked up. Not enough to just like get the game out totally, but close enough that I'd be pretty okay with picking it up. I'm thinking about that one. I can't think of any other games that are worth getting. So kind of starting to lean towards maybe turning Far Cry 6 into the thing that I play after Stadia Pro wraps up, if that makes sense, or maybe just mixing it in here and there. But that could become the storyline that I play. um oh, we could possibly do co-ops. That could work too. I didn't know that you were into it. um let's see. Aside from that, it's a month away, I think, before Fall Guys is back on the table. Uh yeah, so that feels too far away. They need to hurry up and get Fall Guys back, or get just they should just release Fall Guys free to play now. Um Diablo, you got Far Cry 6 day one. Nice. You'd be so far ahead of me. Um because I only played that what, 2 days? 1 day or 2 days? I think it was 2 days of their free to play weekend. And I liked it. I don't think it was like the greatest game or anything, but I liked it. And seeing as they're not going to be bringing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, why, guys? Why bring it to Stadia, you jerks? But since they're not bringing that out, got to find the next best choice, and Far Cry is looking like not a bad option. Um, so yeah. Anyway, stream is a possibility this weekend. I just don't know what I would stream. It very possibly I could do like photo edits from the DJI Mini 3 Pro, because I was hoping to have that done by this week, but I'm just I've run out of time. I've had too many other things kind of just getting in the way. But I want to try to have that review written and have do photo edits maybe this weekend. I could see doing that. In which case that would make sense for a stream. I wish I still had that drone because I had to rush it back, but yeah, it'd be nice to also do a photo shoot, maybe coming up soon. Google needs to overhaul. You understand they love Linux, but Linux games are like, yeah, well, they're coming out with that wrapper or platform or whatever for making Windows games more compatible with Stadia. It's a good idea. That maybe that's their. I don't know that that's really going to attract a whole ton, but maybe, hopefully. For those who don't know, they've also set up. They've now given, I think, 2 games that people on AT&T can play. Like, that's also kind of neat. I mean, they're trying. Stadia is definitely not dead. They're just kind of white labeling in the weirder, not ideal ways. Actually, what was the first game? I should look into the first game. Who knows? Maybe if that's free to play, maybe I'll sit down and just take advantage of the fact I'm on AT&T and play that for a while. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. I can feel my voice and throat starting to ache. So thanks everyone for coming by, hanging out, being part of the conversation, chilling with me while I say things I do not plan. Again, we'll be back. I'll probably stream at least one day this weekend, hopefully 2. Let's see. I'm gonna say this even though I know both of you guys. I don't need to say it to either of you guys, but for anyone who watches the stream to this point, if you'd like to support the channel, there are links down below to Patreon, Streamlabs, and Cash App. If you want to contribute, that is awesome, and thank you. It is much appreciated. It makes things run a little bit smoother around here. And thanks as always to Diablo for being a Patreon subscriber, and thanks to Carson for at least semi-consistent, I think. I don't actually make a pattern of, or I don't make a practice of tracking, but I know you donate too. So thank you guys for always being helpful. Let's see. Trying to think. Is there anything else to say? Was there anything else to say? Oh, question, just because. How would you say stream goes without music? Yay? Nay? Should I keep doing this? I feel weird without the music. I feel like I need to try doubly hard to fill blank spaces, but I don't know. It's strange. Plus, I don't know how much anyone notices this, but it's actually kind of a thing with me. When I transition out to the end screen, one of the things I always do is listen to the music and pay attention to when a track ends, and I let the stream actually run until the current track, or if it's really close, the next track. I wait until those end. You think you like the music? I feel like I do too. It just, I don't know. Somehow it helps. To me, I think it helps. Which is weird because when I listen to podcasts, I always want them music free. But yeah, I don't know. Somehow I feel like the music is good. Anyway, but yeah, since I always close out, it's such a weird thing, but now I feel like I don't know when to stop a stream. Like, I'll probably just let it sit on the end card for 30 seconds or so and then just tap in stream. But I don't know. I don't have a good answer for something that really doesn't matter. But here we are. All right. Anyway, Guys, take it easy. I hope you have excellent nights. Do something good with them. Um, Again, hopefully see you this weekend. If I don't, I will try my best to say something about that in advance. You know how good I am at that. Uh, but anyway, with that, good night, everybody.